Hello everyone and welcome back to Cooking with Kyndall. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make, hands down, the best candied yams that you've ever tasted in your life. Now I've made this recipe a couple times on this channel, just kind of like in the midst of doing Sunday dinners, but I've tweaked it since then and this is absolutely like, yo, this recipe is incredible and I have it down. I will put it down in the description box below, all of the ingredients and the how-tos. So I just want you guys to just watch this video and enjoy cooking together. So if you're interested in making the most incredible, buttery, sweet, and beautifully seasoned yams, then keep watching this video. All right, you guys, so like I mentioned before, I am gonna link everything down below, all the ingredients and the instructions on how to make these candied yams, but I will just give you kind of like a general overview of the things that you're gonna need. So I just got 2 packs of these sweet potatoes. These were like weirdly expensive sweet potatoes. I don't know why. They're pre-packaged and they're cleaned, so I guess that's why. But just any old sweet potatoes will work. I just got a pack of 2 packs of 4. I use like 4 to 6. I'm probably not going to use 8, but they came in a pack of 4, so I had to get 2. I also need a tin for, oh, there's a sticker there. A tin for the actual sweet potatoes. You can cook in Pyrex or whatever makes you comfortable, but these are cheap and we go through the entire pan of yams, so I just like to get the disposable ones because I can just toss these once I'm done. You're gonna need some brown sugar, also some white sugar, some salt, molasses, and I get the grandma's molasses, but if you wanted to get like blackstrap molasses, you could. I do vanilla extract, ground nutmeg, ground ginger, ground clove, ground cinnamon, and 3 sticks of butter. Of course, if you are making this for like a huge crowd, you would use more butter, but 3 is more than enough in this recipe. So the first step is I'm just gonna re-wash these sweet potatoes and I'm going to, I call it shucking them, but that's not what it's called. I'm gonna shave them. Is it shucking or shaving? Please comment down below. Like, I'm having pregnancy brain right now. I'm gonna peel them. That's what I'm gonna peel the potatoes. It's kind of tedious, but it's so worth it to do it this way. Some people keep their skin on. I don't. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you how I do that, and then I'm gonna chop the sweet potatoes up and put them in this big old bowl. And yeah, let's get started. Okay, so this is me just cleaning the sink. I just like to start with a really clean sink. Everything's like germ-free, especially if you're using your sink to prep. I feel like you should always do that before you start cooking. I'm also just gonna rinse my potatoes really quickly. I ended up only using 6, and then I'm gonna start peeling them. And then yeah, that's gonna be that for that. Okay, so I'm still shucking the potatoes, but I did want to start my water because this is a lot of water and it kind of takes some time to boil. So I don't know how many quarts or cups or whatever this is, but it's a sizable amount of water, enough to boil all the sweet potatoes. So maybe like half an inch above the sweet potatoes, but you can always add more or less if you need to. So I'm just gonna start that on high while I finish shucking the potatoes. And this is why I stop up my sink while I'm shaving the potatoes, because none of it will fall through the garbage disposal. So I can just take like a paper towel and just start like scooping it up, and it just makes it easy to just throw away in the trash or compost, if you will. So I'm just gonna start cutting the potatoes. I like to start long ways so I don't chop my finger off. It just makes it more manageable. And then I'm gonna cut some big, some small, some medium pieces. I'm just gonna do that to all the potatoes and throw them in this bowl. I'm also peeling off any parts that the worms or bugs got to when these potatoes were growing. You can kind of see it's like little holes. I just like to get rid of those. All right, you guys, so these are our beautiful sweet potatoes. So I chopped them some kind of big, some super small, and then some medium, because one of the keys to making this the best sweet potato recipe that you have ever tried is that we kind of need the small ones to overcook a little bit so they can mash. I'll explain it once we get there, but you want to have sort of a variety in shape and size. So over here, we're just waiting on our water to boil. A lot of people actually don't boil the sweet potatoes before they bake them. but I like to do like a 3-cook method. I like to boil them and then bake them, and then broil them actually. So I'll show you guys once we get there, but I found that that makes a really sticky sweet yam, if that makes sense. But anyways, we're just waiting for this to boil. Then we're gonna dump our sweet potatoes in there for maybe about 15 to 20 minutes, just until you can kind of like stick a fork through them to where they're not too mushy. And we're going to start on our sauce. So I'm just gonna put our potatoes in the boiling water. The water actually went down. It was boiling, but now it's down. But it'll quickly boil up again. And now I'm just gonna throw in our 3 sticks of butter and just kind of get those melted. You don't want to brown or burn the butter. You just want it to like melt down beautifully. And this is what your butter should look like. It's got all that like fat sitting on the top. So now we're gonna start pouring our vanilla in, and I use a lot. And then I'm going to move on to the seasonings. And so this one is cinnamon. It's very cinnamon heavy, this recipe. And then I'm going to use, I think that was nutmeg next. Yep, that's nutmeg. Then I'm going to move on to our clove. I feel like clove is a very underrated spice. But it is so good. It smells amazing. It just smells like I'm making like holiday pies in here. It smells so freaking good. Then I'm also going to use some ground ginger. You could use fresh ginger. I've used it before, but ground is just easier just to have on hand. Then you're just going to mix this up, and then we're going to move on to the next step, which is our sugars. So I'm going to start with pouring our molasses. This is one of the key ingredients to that buttery caramelized flavor. Then of course you have brown sugar. I used maybe like a cup to a cup and a half, and then like 1.5 cups of sugar, or maybe like 1 2/4. Wait, isn't that a half? Anyways, I'm tired. Then you're just gonna mix up your mixture, and then you kind of want this to start cooking down but not boiling, because sugar burns very, very quickly. So right now you just see like all that butter separated, but as it cooks down, it will all blend together and it will make a lot more sense. So you kind of see those edges starting to bubble up, and that's what you're looking for. You need to like start stirring at this point, because like I said, it's gonna burn quickly, and so you want the heat to stay on, but you just want to like be careful that it doesn't burn. So I'm just stirring and stirring and stirring. At this point, I've added my salt. I did maybe like a tablespoon of salt in total. The salt just like helps to balance the sweetness out. So good. And I'm going to check if our sweet potatoes are cooked all the way through. So you just take your fork and you just like, smush it in the middle. That one is done. If we were going to bake it, then it wouldn't be done. But since we are going to bake it, you want to allow for a little bit more time for them to cook in the oven as well. So you don't want them to be smushy. That was like al dente. Now I'm just draining my potatoes. The water was hot. Maybe my edge just wet out. Now I'm going to start assembling our potatoes for their layer of sauce. So at this point, I've taken the sauce off of the stovetop. It's actually right in front of the potatoes. So yeah, I don't have a drainer, so I just use that like colander spatula. Works just fine. So I'm just gonna make sure I get all the potatoes, because we don't waste potatoes. And then, before we put the sauce in, we actually have to do this. We have to smush the potatoes down. This is what I was talking about earlier. It allows for like some of that mushy potato to mix in with the sauce and almost create like a swimming pool for it, if that makes any sense. So then you're gonna go ahead, actually I did get a different spatula because that one had holes in it. You're just gonna go ahead and start pouring. I didn't end up using all of this sauce. I used a pretty good amount, but I did have some left over. So maybe if I had used the last 2 potatoes, so that would have been 8 in total, then I probably would have used all of the sauce. So now I'm just kind of like separating the potatoes to make sure the sauce gets in fully. All right, you guys, so our sweet potatoes are ready for the oven. My oven is preheated to 450, and I'm just gonna cook them for about 20 minutes. just eyeballing them, and then I'm gonna show you guys the next step. All right, so these yams are out of the oven. They look beautiful as is, but they're not finished yet. So crank up your oven to broil and put it on the lower rack for about 3 to 4 minutes, but you wanna eyeball it so the tops, the exposed parts of the yams, don't burn. And so I'm kinda gonna like seesaw it, like take it out, mix it up a little bit, put it back in every minute or so, just to make sure it doesn't burn and to make sure this sugar mixture that we've made kind of cooks down a little bit more, because broil is, I think, at 500 degrees. So yeah, let's do it. Ooh, that looks so good. That is exactly what you want your yams to look like. So I've tossed and turned it maybe about 5 or 6 times. Now I'm just gonna take them out, let them cool, and they will be ready to serve. Okay guys, so I just wanna show you the finished product. They look amazing. I cannot wait to dig in. I'm actually making a couple other sides and then a main dish, and then hubby and I are going to indulge. It's gonna be so good. Comment down below if you guys enjoyed this recipe. If you decide to cook it, I would love to know. Send me a picture. Just tag me at official Kyndall on Instagram. As always, I love you guys. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.